All right, high expectations, a blessing and a curse in college football. Good because your team is recognized for its talent. Bad because, well, there's nowhere to go but down. The Oklahoma Sooners are ranked #1 in the preseason poll. Boomer Sooner. Only one team in the last decade has won a national championship after assuming that mantle. Bummer Sooner. Here's an inside look at how Oklahoma prepares to be the hunted all season long. And welcome into the ESPNU studios for another edition of SportsCenter alongside former Syracuse All-American with lacrosse Paul Carcaterra. I'm Rich Hollenberg. We have lacrosse coming up in the show and a lot of it. But first we're going to start off the show with some college football. Spring football abounds, and there's no fan base more excited about the upcoming season's prospects than Arkansas. A returning stud quarterback in Tyler Wilson, a healthy Heisman hopeful in running back Niall Davis. But uncertainty in the air, along with those expectations, as the Razorbacks are still without a head coach in the wake of the Bobby Petrino firing. We go out to Fayetteville right now to see what spring football was like without a head coach. Taver Johnson filling the shoes temporarily. More on that in just a moment. In the first quarter, no score, red ball. Tyler Wilson is going to get a 6-yard touchdown pass to Chris Gregg. Red is up 6-0 early. In the first quarter, same score. Red ball again. Wilson had himself a ball game. Makes the 27-yard pass to Kobe Hamilton, and it's nice to get some help from your wide receivers as he did there down to the 1-yard line. Reds up 13-zip. Still in the first. Wilson still doing work. 60-yard touchdown pass to Craig, up 20-0 at this point. And then in the fourth quarter, Reds up 44-zip. Brandon Mitchell comes in and says, I want to get in on this touchdown act. A 15-yard pass to Marquell Wade. How about Tyler Wilson, 467 yards. Welcome into the SWAC Sandwich edition of SportsCenter in between the Women's SWAC Championship and the Men's SWAC Championship. Rich Hollenberg along with former Duke All-American Abby Wayner and former Wake Forest head coach Dino Gaudio. It's great to be with you. We have a lot to get to leading you up to the SWAC Men's Championship. Let's start with one of the best games in the afternoon, the ACC semifinal between Florida State and Duke for the right to play that man, Roy Williams, and the UNC Tar Heels. Here's Luke Laux with the long pass to Ian Miller, who lays it in. Florida State an early 3-point lead. Duke struggled holding on to the ball. Careless turnovers, 14 in the first half, Coach.
Very atypical for a Duke basketball team, but I'll tell you what, Rich, when the Florida State guards play well, there's Luke Laux with the pass. When Laux, Dulkes, and Snare play well, they could beat anybody in the country.
Remember how well Dulkes played against North Carolina early in the year when it was Laux with the threes today. Seminole made it a 3-point game. Rivers, the tough shot, off the mark. Duke still trailing by 3. Jeff Peterson, the long throw-in, just trying to run out the clock. Seth Curry's got one last desperation shot. It's off the mark. Quarterback position up for grabs. Number 11, Matt McGloin, had about, call it an average day. He's going to complete a pass in the first quarter, but he's also going to throw an interception in the second quarter. Now let's look at the other QB option, Rob Bolden, who started for the Nittany Lions in the past. Had a terrible spring game. Not one, not two, but 3 interceptions. He got hit on that one. That wasn't really fair. Later in the fourth quarter, White is down 73-56. Yes, I said 73-56. Paul Jones, the third stringer, hits Matt Lehman for the touchdown, but it would not be enough. Blue prevails in this one, 77-65. And you take a look at Penn State's schedule, a backloaded schedule if there ever was one. Temple will be a tough out. They are on the road at Illinois. But look at the back half of this schedule. Ohio State, at Nebraska, Wisconsin, all in the final 5 weeks for the Penn State Nittany Lions. 4 quarterbacks in the mix for the starting job at Notre Dame, an All-American wideout gone to the NFL, and the expectations of a huge and sometimes impatient fan base always hanging overhead. Welcome to year 3 of the Brian Kelly era in South Bend. Today in our finale, we're honing in on the cream of the running back crop, and as a scout, you use 5 special criteria when judging an individual. Will Muschamp grew up about a 15 to 20-minute walk, as he puts it, from the swamp in Gainesville. He made it to almost every game as a child, and now he's back and bringing his own unique coaching style to the Gators in his debut season as their head coach.
It has to go through the Civil War.
Spoken like someone who's been through
Yeah,
those wars a
exactly.
couple of times. Well, we mentioned Stanford, and I think consensus here says that they're a good team, but maybe not a great team. And while we might all feel that Stanford's Andrew Luck is the best player in the country, that doesn't necessarily always translate into winning the Heisman Trophy, does it, Tom? You mentioned playing your basketball at University of Maryland back in the 60s for your coach. Who had the most impact on you as a coach? What coaching principles you took with you to all your stops along the way, and of course, in the final 22 seasons with the Terrapins? And welcome to the ACC College Football Preview Show on ESPNU. Rich Hollenberg alongside a pair of former ACC gunslingers in their own right. Georgia Tech alum Tom Luganville to my far left, and Florida State favorite son Danny Cannell joins us as well. Guys, the mess at Miami is certainly stealing the headlines right now, but we'll be diving into some other storylines too this hour. How about the Seminoles return to national prominence? And we'll also have a good old-fashioned quarterback debate between these two coming up. We're nothing sexy. That's a smash-mouth, grinded-out mentality at Wisconsin. It wouldn't appeal to most quarterbacks. So why choose Wisconsin when you decided to transfer from NC State?